part that I found most memorable in this play was when Esther found the gorgeous silk jacket in Mame's boudoir. This was the most memorable part to me because I was not expecting it at all. I knew that George and Esther were not experiencing the best of times, but I would have never expected that this would have happened in the story. There were many points of tension that did occur in this play, but one of the first points of tension that I found was when we learned that Esther can't read or write. I consider this a point of tension because it made me feel uncomfortable that someone else was writing the letters for her. Another point of tension that arose was when the tension between Mrs. Dixon and Esther had grown. Mrs. Dixon told Esther that she should be careful because men need satisfied and men can even be violent. I think part of the reason that Mrs. Dixon made a point of saying these things was because she was upset that Esther would be leaving the rooming house. However, this conversation made Esther even more upset and even more uncomfortable, which made Esther want to leave even faster. Finally, a third point of tension that I found in this play was when George takes the money from Esther that she had been saving for a parlor of her own. What fueled this tension was that many women experience abuse from men. For George, this was almost as if he was relaying some abuse onto Esther. Esther had begged George to give the money back, but he would not listen. Esther was powerless to George at this point. Nottage's intimate apparel reinvents our understanding of the African American experience. There are not many stereotypes that were reinforced within this play. However, we were given a story of a woman who had a difficult life like the common stereotype of African Americans from the past. But she was working very hard and making a good life for herself. In a way, by writing about the life of an African American woman and sharing the experiences that many women like Esther went through, which I believe was Lynn Nottage's purpose, my views of African American stereotypes associated with this group have been reshaped or reinvented. Stereotypes do still exist of African Americans and other groups, and as horrible as they are, they probably will always exist. I think stereotypes are like weak points that can bring a group down. Sometimes they can be knocked for that stereotype, and maybe it applies to a portion of people associated in that group, or even none of the people that are associated in that group. However, sometimes they can be true of some of the people, or sometimes they're not even true at all. Education helps to overcome stereotypes. Learning about groups of people helps to give insight on the people and the groups that they are associated with. For example, with me, I'm Italian, and many Italians are associated with a lot of hair. For me, this is true, but for many Italians that I know, they don't even have that much hair. So it's not true for many of us, but then it can be true for some of us. I've also heard many other stereotypes along the way, such as things that African Americans eat, which is true for some, but not all.